Hello, Internet, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, this is Squiggy Plays, and I am Squiggy, and this is my little corner of the internet where we talk about games, unbox games, play games, anything to do with games, we do it here. This week, we are going back to 2003 as I have played F-Zero GX on the Nintendo GameCube. So, what is F-Zero GX, I hear you ask? Well, simply put, it's a high-speed, intense racing game developed by Amusement Vision and published by Nintendo. This is the successor to the highly rated F-Zero X on the N64. Not only that, F-Zero GX had its own arcade counterpart, F-Zero AX. Amusement Vision are a Sega studio, so this is one of the first major collaborations between Sega and Nintendo. But before we get on to my thoughts of F-Zero GX, let's have a little unboxing fun with the GameCube version. Here we have the box. This is a complete in-box version. I paid £42 for this from CEX. It is one of the more expensive GameCube games. And as you can see on the front of the box, we have all the different characters. I can point out Captain Falcon is the main one there. Only for GameCube, obviously, but let's flip it over to the back. So let's give this a readout. The future of racing. Race for glory in the Grand Prix Cups. Speed through an incredible storyline as Captain Falcon. Take on up to 3 friends. Build and customize your own machine. Challenge your time ghosts, and much more. Steer through danger with the Logitech Speed Force steering wheel powered by force feedback technology. Sold separately. So even trying to sell you a steering wheel on the back of the box there, just in case you don't believe me. It's that second bullet point down there. And then link to F-Zero AX. Take your GameCube memory card to the arcade, and you can link up to the upcoming F-Zero AX arcade game to race your custom machine, earn new parts, and unlock bonus features. We are going to talk about that a little bit later on. And at the bottom, 30 pilots, 20 courses, 1 champion. Let's open this up so we can have a look. And we have the disc. I love GameCube discs. They're so small. They're so tiny, but I love GameCube discs. So there is the GameCube disc itself. And the instruction manual is... It's an okay instruction manual, actually. It has all the basic stuff in. It tells you a little bit about F-Zero, like a history of it. The F-Zero Grand Prix dates back to the 26th century. This spectacular race series features the most technologically advanced machines running through several circuits of fast-paced hovering action. F-Zero is recognized as the fastest and most extreme race in the known universe, and it's sponsored by the wealthy elite who organize the F-Zero Execution Project. And the winner receives loads of dollar. So there's your history of F-Zero. And then you've got to talk about the machines, the circuits, the controls. So as we're going to talk about a little bit later on, there's a lot to take in here in the controls. Like there's attacking, there's using drift and everything else, as well as controlling your machine. And then it tells you the different kinds of drifts you can do and how good they can be to help you out and sort of when you should use them, how to attack, and then how to start the game. We don't need to worry about starting the game. How to put a memory card in, don't need to worry about that. And then different modes, so the Grand Prix mode, and you can pick your machine, you can customize your machine, and then the official rules of F-Zero GX, so like how many points you get for a win and where you place, if you retire, spare machines, how many you get, so it tells you in there. You start with 5, 3 in expert, and then you get a spare machine when the pilot retires, 5 more rival machines in a single race. I did not know that. And then I used to love these instruction books, like having screenshots in telling you how to do everything. I'm not going to go through every page of it, but you kind of get the idea. There's a lot of different stuff. You've got your time attack practice, story, you can edit your emblem, and then it's got a little bit about all the different pilots and the machines, but we're not really going to go into too much depth on that, but there's quite a lot to get through there. And we are near the end. And then this is how to use the steering wheel, which you can buy separately. And also F-Zero AX, which was launching in December 2003. But yeah, this is a complete one. Obviously, we've got the GameCube underneath, the GameCube manual underneath. And yeah, this is a very nicely conditioned game. And yes, I very much like this. But let's get back to talking about the game. So F-Zero GX is known for its high difficulty, and I found this while even playing on the lowest setting in the first Grand Prix. Found the game very, very unforgiving. And for me, this is perfectly fine, as I kind of knew what to expect from F-Zero. I've played the N64 one, and I'd already played a little bit of this GameCube one previously as well as playing the Game Boy Advance version. So kind of knew a little bit what to expect, but for new players, it's a very hard game to get to grips with. Like some races, you think you've got it completely mastered and you finish first. And I, you know what, did that a few times. Little humble brag, I did it a few times. But then suddenly in the next race, you find yourself fighting at the back of the pack, and it's a game that doesn't care if you're new or old with the game. It's just very unforgiving. And when the going gets tougher, even when the going gets tough, it gets even tougher. You can actually run out of ships, which we just sort of talked about when we were in the unboxing, and get game over. And I don't know about you, but I never expect to see a game over screen in a racing game. And again, this just adds to the difficulty of F-Zero. You have a certain number of machines, which you said you get 5 on standard, 3 on expert, and they're basically your lives. And every time you destroy your ship, either by taking too much damage or flying off the side to your doom, a machine is lost. And once all of them are lost, that is the game over, and you have to restart. And I'm a little bit on the fence about it. On the one hand, I like the Jeopardy, and it's a little bit different to playing other racing games, apart from maybe like a true sim racer where if you destroy your car, gone. Like F1, if you crash into the wall at a high enough speed, you are done. You are out of that race. But I think with it being very unforgiving, it can happen very early on. It happened to me very early on. It was like my second Grand Prix, and I'd got the game over screen. And again, like we've talked about previously, I knew what to expect from F-Zero. I've played it before, so it's not a problem. I'll just pick myself and my ship from the wreckage, and we'll go again. But for newcomers, if they're like on the first Grand Prix and they're flying off the track and getting game over, might be a little bit off-putting to them. But yeah, it's just one of those things, I think. And then I mentioned early on about your ship taking damage, but damage can also occur by using your boost. So it's like an energy level instead of like taking damage. So it kind of brings in some tactics of when you want to use your boost and use your ship's energy. And a few times I had the alarm bells ringing, which is like quite literally alarm bells do ring when your energy's low. But I needed that boost. And throughout the course, there's sections where you can drive through to increase your energy again. And that kind of plays into the ship v ship combat as well, which, totally honest, never really taken part in it. I'm literally too focused on keeping my ship on the course to try and even spin into an opponent or anything like that. Like, my focus is keeping my ship on the course, going in a straight line or turning when I have to, and not falling off and not running out of energy. There's a lot going on in the game. I think we can safely say that. Hopefully no one disagrees there. Let's talk about the tracks. And I find the tracks a little bit weird. And again, maybe that's just me, but there's tracks with the same name, but a different subheading, if that's kind of what you want to call it. So like Mute City, which is probably the most famous location from F-Zero, has 3 tracks, and each of them have different subtitles. And I eventually realized that these subtitles describe the feature of the track. So again, using Mute City as an example, the first subtitle is Twist Road, and that's basically what the track is. It's a road that twists around like a figure of 8. The second subtitle is Serial Gaps, which I found out many times means that there are plenty of gaps in the track to fall off and to get game over to. But sticking with the tracks, although I mentioned that there's plenty of tracks with the same name, there's a lot who have variation to them. It's like F1 holding 3 Spanish Grand Prix, but having them in different cities. So it's like the Spanish Grand Prix, but you've got Barcelona, Valencia. So they're always a bit different. And Mute City is always a favorite. I absolutely love Mute City, and the music for that track is just fantastic. Casino Palace is another great themed track as well, and one you could probably argue has been lifted straight out of Mario Kart. For me, it's one of the more gimmicky tracks, which is probably why I think it would fit Mario Kart perfectly. From the massive roulette wheel in the background to the multiple paths you can take, and then there's also the random good luck casino clowns, which obviously had to mention. And this track has everything. So like, you're staying on the track, you're focusing on that. You've got all that to look at as well. And it's a super short track. It's like 25 to 30 seconds a lap time for the first Casino Palace one. And does this bring me to a little bit of a problem? I think it does in a little bit, and you can sort of still put a positive spin on it. The tracks are short. There's absolutely no denying that. And sometimes races last 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, maybe three at tops. And if you compare that to some of the races out there, even at that time, you can probably guarantee they would last longer. Like, Mario Kart probably had longer races than that. And I think the main problem with that is that there's so much to take in and like all the backgrounds of these races that you just need that little bit more time to see it all. And you're sort of as I've said earlier, you're focusing so much on the race, trying to keep your car on track, energy levels, battling with other people, that you can't really focus your attention on sort of everything that's going on. And some longer races with some longer straights to take in, the views wouldn't go amiss. But and what my positive spin on this is that the tracks take a lot of time and a lot of skill to master them and to learn like every little nook and cranny of them. And I don't think I'd want to keep racing the same lengthy track over and over again to try and learn it. I'd probably get very bored. So like having a shorter track helps keep it a little more interesting, and then it still promotes that high speed, thrilling race mechanic. So there's still some positives to it. It's not all negative on there. And there's also a story mode in F-Zero that, admittedly, I've only played a small amount of it, but it seems to be a mix of challenges to complete while on the tracks. And I won't lie to you, I'm not really that bothered about the story mode, but it is a nice thing to have. And it gives you a little bit of backstory about Captain Falcon and a few others. So, it gives a little bit of personality to the characters, which I think is pretty cool. And as we mentioned when we looked in the box, the arcade version of this game, F-Zero AX, this is a slimmed down version of F-Zero GX, basically, with less races and less tracks. But one of the coolest features is being able to take your GameCube memory card with your F-Zero GX save, and you can try and unlock the AX characters and the tracks to use in your F-Zero GX game. But overall, did I enjoy playing F-Zero GX? Absolutely. I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea because of that high difficulty curve and the fact it's a game that's very tough to master. But for me, that's the charm of the game and something that keeps me going back to playing it. A little bit like skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty. I can't believe I managed to get Call of Duty into this, but one race can be the race of your life. You're at the front, nothing's gone wrong. And then next can be something of nightmares where, you're having an absolute stinker. But you find yourself coming back for more to try and chase that high of winning again. I'm a little bit disappointed we've not had a sequel to F-Zero GX, and for me it was a perfect blend of high-speed racing, easy to get into, hard to master, and a nice selection of courses and races. I'm not classing F-Zero 99 as a sequel, as it's largely a remake of the SNES game with the Battle Royale elements, but Nintendo, if you are listening, please bring F-Zero back to the Nintendo Switch 2. And that is all we have for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this lovely game, F-Zero GX. I really like it. It's a very, very good racing game. I'd probably put it on par with Mario Kart Double Dash, which I really enjoy as well. But yes, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see when more videos go live. If you haven't already, you can follow me on X and Instagram, both at Squiggy Plays. TikTok is Squiggy Plays, and you can also find me on the Squiggy Plays podcast every Tuesday at 8 a.m. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.